All right, this is a review for quiz 6. Now, the first 4 questions on your quiz are about how many solutions. So your goal is to find out what the slope is and to also figure out what the y-intercept is. You can do that by leaving the y by itself. So I know that the slope is 8, and that the y-intercept is 5. All right, so what I'm going to do is move this y over there and move the 8x over here. What happens when you do that is that the sign changes. So this is fine. I already know what that one is. So I'm going to move the y over here, makes it negative y. I'm going to move the 8x over here, which makes it minus 8x minus 1. Now, what's happening here is that this is negative y. I need to know what the regular y is. So I need to multiply this side by negative 1, but also multiply this side by negative 1, which does nothing other than change the sign. So now I know y is by itself. 8x is right here. And that turns into a plus 1. So now I know this slope is 8 and the y-intercept is 1, which means that these two lines right here are never going to touch. Why? Because they're two lines that have the same slopes, which means they're parallel to each other. And they start in different places. So one starts up here in 5 and one starts down here at 1. But one goes like that and the other one goes like that, which means it'll never touch. Okay, so this has no solutions. Now, let's say you're done with all your work and the solution comes out like this. 8x plus 5, y equals 8x plus 5. So you're moving things around to leave the y by itself. So now that the y is by itself, look, these two lines are the same. This is infinite solutions. Why? Because it's a line on top of a line. So every single solution is correct. If I put a 3 here, the answer is going to be the same as here. 4 here, I'll put the same solution here. So they're always going to be the same solution, so they're infinite. Now let's say at any time y equals 8x plus 5, and the slope is different. If the slope is different, you don't have to do anything else. If you see two different slopes, automatically you know that there's one solution. You don't even have to check. The only time you can start checking stuff is when the slopes are the same number. Then you have to check if they have the same y-intercept or not. But if the slopes are different, one solution. So that's the first 4 questions. The next ones on here are going to be something like 2y plus 3x equals 7. And I'll put 4y equals, and I'll put negative 6y, or x. You need one y and one x. Equals negative 6x plus 14. All right. Let me see. No, that doesn't work. Let's make this one 8. Hopefully that doesn't do anything crazy here. Let me see. No, it doesn't make crazy. I don't like this second line. The whole second line, I don't like it. So that's still the original. We're going to stick with that. So let's write, let's just write y plus 2x equals, and then this will be, and this will equal 4. Okay, so you have 2 lines here now. Okay? Now, they're already right on top of each other. The y is on top of the y, the x is on top of the x. The x is on top of the x, and the numbers are on top of the numbers. This is perfect. Perfect setup. Now, the problem is that I need to change these numbers. Why? Because I need the y's to be the same number, but different signs. Or I need the x's to be the same number or different signs. Now, the easiest one to deal with is this one. What I'm going to do is multiply this entire line by negative 2. Okay, so the original is still up there, so that's going to be 2y plus 3x equals 7. Now I'm going to change this line completely. I'm going to multiply every single thing by negative 2 to cause it to be negative 2y minus 4x equals negative 8. Now all I have to do is add all of these lines. So this will cancel. This is going to make a negative 1x, right, equals negative 1, right? So now we just divide by negative 1, cancel, divide by negative 1, x equals 1. So I already know what x is. X is 1. So what I'm going to do is grab this x and put it in the equation, the original one. Okay? So it's going to read 2y from up there, plus 3x, which is 3 times 1, so it's just 3. So we'll write plus 3 equals 7. So now we subtract 3, 2y equals 4, divide by 2, cancel, divide by 2, y equals 2. And there it is. That's going to be the next 4 questions are going to look like this. Now, if they're not the same on top of each other, you have to move things around. Remember, when it crosses the equal sign, it changes signs. All right, that's what's going on here. Now, the next question I have is something like this. Let's see. 8y minus 12x equals 16. Now, this is a line. As an x and a y, there's no exponents. This is a straight line. Now, I want to know if this point 4, 8 is on that line. Then we'll check 2, 3 to check if it's on that line. So the way that you check if this point is one of the points for this line is you put these points in here and check if it equals the same thing as that side, which is 16. So 8 times 8 minus 12 times 4. So this is 64 minus 48, which equals 16. So we're going to check this right now. 68 minus 48 is 16. So it does equal 16. So this is a correct one. Now let's check 2, 3. 8 times 3 minus 12 times 2 equals 16. 8 times 3 is 24. Minus 12 times 2 is also 24. 24 minus 24, that equals 0. Does 0 equal 16? Nope. So this is not a solution. All right? That's one of the last questions. The last couple questions after that is the word problem. Now, it's the same thing as the second example I went over on here, where you have to solve the equations, the linear functions. But they're in a word problem form. So let's say I'm going around, right? And I'm buying bananas and strawberries. So I'm buying bananas and I'm buying strawberries. And I told you, and you're like, hey, how much fruit did you end up with? And I'm like, oh, I ended up with 12 pieces of fruit. So that means if you add the bananas and add the strawberries, then I'm going to have 12 in total. And then I'm like, hey, how much did it cost? Well, it's like each banana costs $3. So $3 per banana. And strawberries cost $4, so $4 per strawberry equals $41, right? So let's say it costs $41. So with the information you have a linear function. So all you have to do is make the top equal to bottom, but have different signs. So I'm going to multiply the entire top by -3, right? So now on the top part, I'm going to have -3b minus 3s equals -36. And on the bottom here, we're going to have still 3b plus 4s equals 41. So this is going to cancel because they're opposites. That was our goal. Now we only have one variable. Minus 3 plus a positive 4, that's going to give us 1s. So just s equals -36 plus 41, that gives us positive 5. So we know that S equals 5. So I'm going to grab 5 and put it back in this original equation, which was just bananas plus strawberries. But now I know I have 5 strawberries equals 12. So I subtract by 5, subtract by 5, bananas equals 7. And now I know that this is how many strawberries I bought, and this is how many bananas I bought. And that's it. All right? In this problem over here that we did, in this problem here that we solved, we know that x equals 1 and y equals 2. That means where do these lines intersect is exactly at 1, 2. All right? So that's how I would want the answer at the end. And that's how I want that one. Okay? And that's it. All right? Good luck, guys.